others did, or we lose interest, or we decide it's too hard. Now, are there any questions or comments? Avatar IT comments, as the Beatles sang, all you need is love. Avatar KA asks, when we are getting to the point of deciding it's too hard, is there a way to turn that around again? Kahili as Heinani says, yes, that's when you focus on why you're doing what you're doing. What's the reason or the motivation? It's as important as you decide it is. Avatar IT asks, so you need to remind yourself of your aims regularly? Heinani as Kahili says, absolutely. Whether you are climbing a mountain, learning a skill, or healing yourself. Avatar KA asks, what do you do when you just can't think of a motivation? Heinani as Kahili says, then you must find something or make something very important. It won't come from outside of you. Avatar KA comments, perhaps it could be, what have I got to lose? Avatar LW comments, that's sort of negative. Avatar KA replies, better than none. Some people get so negative they just can't be positive, so even a negative motivation is a start. Avatar LW says, you could also say, what have I got to win? Avatar MJ says, or I wonder what will happen. Avatar BB suggests, or it will be a new experience. That's my motivation for getting up every day. Avatar MJ says, curiosity gets me going when all else seems ridiculous. Avatar IT says, I love new days. You never know how they'll turn out or what you'll have learned by the end of them. Perhaps you could put down the reason why you start something and go back and look at it every so often. Avatar BQ says, I like that idea, IT. Heinani as Kahili says, I did that when I first got the idea for Aloha International. There were lots of times when I thought of letting it go, but I kept reminding myself of the reasons for doing it. Avatar BQ says, I have a really hard time with being scattered because I have too many ways to go. And also my motivating factor doesn't seem to exist because the desired outcome is unattainable. Heinani as Kahili says, unattainable is just a word. How do you know unless you try and persist in trying? Avatar BB says, when you feel scattered, that's when you have to be very quiet and calm, meditate, and ask yourself, what is the very next step? So you can focus on that and not be overwhelmed by the bigger picture. Avatar IT says, the 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step. Break down the goal into smaller steps, then review them periodically and you'll see how far you've come. Avatar BB says, also, it helps to repeat, anything is possible, many times a day. Avatar IT says, and perhaps you need to simply reframe it. Looking at it in another light might make it much more attainable. Avatar MD says, fear can hold you back. Heinani as Kahili says, yes, fear can make you feel like stopping. So what? Fear cannot really hold you back. Just because something is hard, that doesn't mean it can't be done. Avatar LW says, everything is hard the first time we try. Heinani says, and sometimes it gets harder. So what? How important is it? If nothing is important enough to try harder at, then nothing gets done. Avatar PL says, yes, I like that one. Avatar KA says, look for role models, people who have attained it. Avatar BB says, remember, sometimes evolution leaps forward. If you think it's unattainable, then perhaps you're thinking too little of yourself. Heinani says, self-esteem is a factor. Sometimes that's the best first thing to work on. The better you feel about yourself, the easier it is to try something difficult. Avatar MJ says, If we didn't try difficult things, we'd never learn to walk or talk. Avatar LW says, remind your crew of the benefits. We can learn to view fear as a reminder to change our thinking. Avatar IT says, beliefs are like habits. You can change them. Just get some new ones. Heinani says, right. Beliefs are habits. Avatar MD says, changing beliefs can be challenging. Heinani says, yes, it can. So what? Avatar MD says, the question is, how do I do it? Heinani says, a good thing to learn is not to be afraid of fear. Avatar IT says, try replacing a habit with a different one. If that works, do it with beliefs. Avatar BB says, practice is what it takes, repeatedly visualizing the goal as attainable for you. Avatar IT says, look at a plant, how amazingly strong it is when it breaks through the dirt. Avatar MJ says, you could practice on something that seems impossible to believe and see what that brings up. Heinani says, as Kahili, Heinani and I thank you for your presence and participation. Kahili must go now. Aloha to all.